Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our podcast. This is our first episode. My name is Mutia. I'm a born Muslim from Indonesia, and this is my husband, Nicholas, a mualaf Muslim or a new Muslim from the US.
Wa alaikum assalam. Together, we're an international married couple navigating faith, culture, and life as Muslims in a world that sometimes doesn't see us through the same lenses.
In this podcast, we'll share our experiences, reflection, and sometimes hilarious moments as we merge two cultures, two perspectives, and one shared faith.
We'll talk about everything from Islamic practices in different parts of the world to marriage, community, identity, and unique challenges that come with being a Muslim couple in the West.
Whether you're a born Muslim, a new Muslim, or just curious about Islam shapes our everyday lives, this podcast is for you.
So grab a cup of tea and get comfortable as we dive into real conversations about faith, love, and life across different cultures. Okay. How do you navigate work, school obligations while fasting in the US?
For me, last year and years before this year was quite different because I was a student, and this year it's much more. I don't know if you can pick up the noise, but his stomach is
Okay.
This year is more manageable because I only work 9 to 5, and my supervisor was super understanding that she knows I'm in Ramadan or like fasting during Ramadan. So, but there's nothing that much different. I still work like 9 to 5 and everything. And this year, because it's much shorter as well in terms of its period, in terms of its time, so it's not that difficult, it's not that much different. Like when I was fasting in Indonesia, it's about 13 hours, like 12 or 12 12 and half hour.
Wow.
12 hours and 30 minutes. Here is around 13 hours, so like yeah. When I went to school, like that was more challenging because I had a lot of like assignments, readings, writings, and sometimes I had to like stay at the library until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It was a lot.
Oh, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you? How do you navigate work or school obligation while fasting in the US?
Okay. So for me, fasting, I would say, isn't very impactful for me. Not really significant impact to my work. I would just say, in general, being a new Muslim, adjusting my work schedule and my whole life to around the 5 daily prayers was an adjustment. So ensuring that I was communicating with my boss. At the time, I was working in a warehouse. So working my schedule to fit the prayers. For example, I would take, obviously, Fajr before we went into work, Zuhur during my lunch break, and then I could fit Asr in after work. Also, finding the space to pray. So I would either pray in my office, or sometimes I would even pray in my car, maybe go to the gas station to make wudu, or make wudu at the sink there.
It was last year.
This was last year. This year, alhamdulillah, I'm working from home. It's much easier. I'm home all the time. I get to pray with my istri, my wife here, and that's been phenomenal.
Because I work from home too.
Yeah. And I'd say just in general, last year I was still learning to pray, making that adjustment to my lifestyle as a Muslim. Now I'm more focused on, I've learned to pray. I'm still trying to memorize more and more surah, but I'm also diving extra deep into the deen. One thing that we did last year was go to Tarawih consistently, but not every day. This year, I'm planning to go as much as I can, inshallah.
Especially the last 10 days, right?
Especially the last 10 days. This year we're actually traveling again, but to visit
Inshallah.
a Muslim family, like Muslim community or Muslim friends.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, inshallah, we'll be able to have a wonderful time there.
Inshallah.
Go see Indonesian masjid,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very much looking forward to it. In terms of managing my energy, I would say making sure that I wake up on time for sahur, drink enough water, maybe not too much water, but drink enough, and make sure you eat then. And then keep yourself busy with your tasks, maintain focus as much as you can, and try to keep your mind off of food and off of eating as much as you can. That's helped me, at least. That's what works for me. Another thing that's really important that I know some people struggle with is when it comes to work and their identity in life as a Muslim is finding the balance to be able to pray, to find the space, to be able to get off and go to Juma. So I think it's really important to have that conversation with your managers. I was able to find time for Juma. Alhamdulillah, my boss at that time last year had let me come in early or stay later another day in order to go for Juma. Now, also, my boss is pretty flexible, letting me go, working from home as well. I know that there are some people that don't have that same flexibility or might have some limitations, but I would just say everything you can, try to be able to adjust your lifestyle, even if it means, I know someone that would clock out, like they would work their schedule, then they'd clock out and work an hour less each week just so that they can go to the Juma, right? They'll clock out during their lunch, take the extra time they need, clock back in. So it's kind of a give or take, right, with the flexibility with work. And alhamdulillah, I've had a positive experience all the way around. And then in terms of the learning, last year I was in school and I was also working full time. So where I could, I fit in the lectures and reading in my schedule. This year, I'm really focused on taking in as much knowledge as I can. I have a class that I take on Saturdays for new Muslims, and then reading when I can, attending, listening to khutbah, listening to lecture, listening to tafsir online. That's been really important for me this year. How do you maintain spiritual motivation in a non-Muslim country?
So, alhamdulillah, I was surrounded by other sisters like from Indonesia, Muslim sister from Indonesia that I've known them for the past 4 years. So I have mentoring group. Even though like we don't actually meet during Ramadan, but that helped me to stay motivated throughout the year, to feel like they're there for me and keep me accountable as well, to maintain my spirituals, my faith towards Islam's. And this year or like last year, alhamdulillah, like we were able to go to masjid. Before that, when I was student, I was just go to the students musalla on campus, so I've never really went to masjid. But alhamdulillah, like the imam that lead our prayer even in the masjid were happy, so like we did one juz a night during tarawih. And this year I think it's also the same, but we went to the new masjid, right, Masjid Ibrahim, that just as newly built in 2025, alhamdulillah. So also I like to listen to podcasts or like YouTube series as well during sahur and iftar time with my husband, with my suami. So that's kind of helpful for me to stay motivated and strive for a better person, better Muslim.
No, mashallah.
What about you?
For me, it was. We'll talk about it later, but the fasting wasn't too difficult. I was a new Muslim, so all the same, adjustments that a new Muslim would make, was facing, finding the time for prayer, learning as much as I could, but not overwhelming myself, and just adjusting to my new lifestyle.
I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. What do you think?
Absolutely. And if you're listening to this right now and enjoying it, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can catch our next episode.
Yes, and if you're on YouTube or other platforms, you can also leave a comment or review so it will help other people to find our series as well.
Terima kasih. Thank you. Okay, so how do I maintain spiritual motivation? There's 4 components to my spiritual
Wow,
motivation.
okay.
Okay, the first component is learning resources. Second one is the home atmosphere. Third one is reflection. And then the fourth one is connection to the masjid. So first is learning resources. I love lectures online from different scholars and different sheikhs. I have a few virtual communities I join with the mualaf. And then going for like the reading. You had bought me books for my birthday and just reading as much as I can. That's been huge. So finding the right resources for me, that's the first component. The second component is the home atmosphere. So that's decorating the areas nicely, which my lovely istri, my wife, does, playing Quran recitations and always having like some Muslim content around, right? And then making sure we spend the time together to, make this a home, pray together, learn together. That's been really key for me. And that kind of ties into my next point, the reflection. So reflecting on our learnings, talking about things, discussing situations, and really diving deep into my understanding has been really key. So the reflection. And then the last one is connection. So connecting to the masjid. That could be just going for a while I was going for Fajr. Now I'm going for Tarawih. Then on Saturdays I'll go and meet the Imam does the Welcome to Islam for mualaf class. I also take another mualaf class online, and I'm connected to a few different organizations for mualaf. So I think those 4 key points are how I would maintain my spiritual motivation. Okay, the last point I would say that I didn't list that's tied to all these components is finding a spiritual mentor. So both the mualaf communities I'm in, you can fill out a form to find a spiritual mentor. You can find one at your local masjid, and alhamdulillah, my wife, I would consider a bit of a spiritual mentor as well, helping me to guide me through my faith as I'm learning continuously and as we learn together. Okay, what are some of your favorite iftar foods from each culture?
Anything that you cook, actually, I loved it. So I like the chicken tikka masala you made, and then he really looked good at cooking. So I enjoy everything that he made. And then recently we made this batagor, and that just brought me like some memories of Indonesian street food. So I like that batagor. I don't know.
Yeah, it was amazing. You did a really good job
Thank
making
you.
that.
Thank you. Yeah.
I also love rendang.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite from the Indonesia culture, is the rendang. And then in general, I love food. So
Yeah. Anything.
so something good that we had recently was last night we made burritos, right, with minced lamb meat and like Mexican style flavors. That turned out really good. And then, like you said, chicken tikka masala. I'm not sure what we're going to cook this weekend, but every weekend we'll cook some big meals. She'll cook something, I'll cook something, and we'll put it into storage containers for the week. And it really works out for us. How do mosques and community iftars compare in both countries?
So I guess I'll answer these questions. And mosques and community iftars, interestingly, like here I feel like because we're the minorities, feel like they're more hardworking here, like more thriving in terms of the communities we were provided for free iftar when I was in school, now in here as well. Like, well, we kind of contributes to pay for the iftar, but there's this, masjid that arrange that, manage that, so it can happen, like, so everybody's welcome inshallah today at the masjid. So we'll see how it looks like. But last year and the years before that, when we were still in Ohio, the local masjid manage this free iftar for everybody every year, no matter if you're a student or not. But you can get one or two boxes even for your roommates if you said that you're getting for other Muslims as well. But when I was at Ohio State, yeah, there are MSA, the Muslim Students Associations, that also share free iftar every day. So alhamdulillah, I was busy during that time. Sometimes we didn't have time to prepare for iftar, proper like nutritious iftar. So they've been very helpful, alhamdulillah. And in Indonesia, some masjids actually gave free takjil, not like a whole iftar, like not a whole meals, but I feel like it's just different, I guess, because everyone's in Indonesia are fasting, so it's easy to get some food, to get food like in Indonesia. Even if you're not preparing, if you're like busy throughout the day, you can still like get some food from the vendors or even the restaurants or something like that. And it's
Mashallah.
halal, so yeah, you don't need to be worried about the halal aspect of it.
Okay. What advice would you give to Muslims fasting in a non Muslim majority country for the first time?
That's a good one. So I think, based on my experience, like surrounding yourself with like-minded people, the Muslims community that also, striving to be a good Muslim in non-Muslim majority country like here, it will be like a good way for you to like uh keep, motivated to do your fasting or other type of good deeds, prayers and stuff like that. And just remember that Allah, as I said, reward their servant based on their effort. So uh, he knows how hard it is to be a Muslim in non-Muslim countries like the US. So yeah, even if you are Muslim, live in a Muslim majority countries, but if you're surrounded by like people who are not striving to be a Muslim, to be a good Muslims, it could be like also challenging. So actually, no matter where you are, if you are like, just try your best, even if you think it's not good enough, Allah will reward you. So yeah.
Okay, mashallah. So, what advice would I give Muslims fasting in a non Muslim majority country? So, practically, I'd say plan ahead, plan your
Mm-hmm.
meals, cook if you can be ahead of time. Mashallah, we're able to cook on Sunday for the week. Next, I would say wake up for sahur. Make sure you have enough water, you have everything ready to break that, or to get ready for fasting, and then everything ready to break fast. Socially, my recommendation would be to be open and ready to explain to friends or coworkers that don't understand, and just make sure that you have patience and represent the Muslim community well when you are communicating, because that's a form of dahwa, representing what, like, representing positive behaviors and performing acts that would be like from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Finally, I would say, like the same that you had said, spiritually, stay engaged, connect with the local community, connect with the resources you have, continue to learn, continue to read, and don't give up that faith.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, I'd say Ramadan's a great kind of faith reset, like faith focus month, but it should be a constant journey throughout the year. Mashallah, that even outside of Ramadan, we should continue these practices as much as we can.
That's a wrap for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
If you did enjoy the episode, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And wherever you're listening to this, please give us a rating and review. It really helps us reach a wider audience. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.